What's up, YouTube? Vanguard Gaming coming at you today with my buddy Joe, giving his Angel Feather Premium deck profile. He has been playing Angel Feathers since, God, how long has it been?
I mean, I started this game about when the original set 10 came out, and I built Ergodiel. But Ergodiel's bad now, so we're going with this.
I mean, like, Ergodiel's been good, but, you know.
Hey, back in the day, on-hit, Counterblast 2 healer damage, not the worst thing ever.
That's true.
Bad, but not the worst thing ever.
That's true. Alright,
Yeah.
So, let's talk about the deck a little bit. So, what does this deck do exactly?
Annoy your opponent to death, basically. You just heal, and heal, and heal.
So basically, it just doesn't die.
Yeah, like, you ever done relay fight? You know you can take like 10 damage? Yeah, this deck can take more.
Yeah, alright.
Am I wrong?
No, you're not wrong. I've played against it, and it's really annoying.
You know, you'll be lucky to go to game 3.
Yeah, we go to time a lot against that deck. So now let's cut to the deck profile. All right, so let's start off. I'm assuming this is the starter here.
Why would I run this as the starter? Yes, of course it's a starter. A lot of Angel Feathers, G starters, a lot of the later ones were more rescue, aggressive orientated, so they're out. And then there's the Celestial starters, which are mediocre. The original starters, just eh. And it's just a simple plus. It's also, you get to keep it in the soul, which is nice, as you have a few things that cost soul. You know.
Plus, also being able to draw into your pieces is
really
nice.
I mean, you could run like whatever the original starter is, but to fetch things, but you have other ways. I just like the draw. Simple, effective, finds what it needs to find in this inconsistent mess.
Yep.
On to grade 3s. Just don't roll once. 4 Ergodiel. 4 Metatron. 3 Feather Palace. I'd honestly like to run a 4th Feather Palace, but like, look at these ratios.
So, what's the importance of each of your grade 3s?
Ergodiel is here. It generates you protect gifts a lot, which is part of the other reason why this deck can sustain itself so long. And it keeps setting up your soul for Feather Palace use, because it just keeps building it up. Metatron, you want to be riding it every turn. It is one of the main reasons why you just heal so much. And the second skill is also very good, being a better rescue check. With this deck, and then, well, first let me mention Feather Palace. It's big beefy beat stick that kills things. This is basically this and Azeroth is basically this only deck's kill power. But despite how little it might be, you're so grindy, you'll just keep poking every turn. It'll bring him down. Ergodiel's 3k boost can also apply a bit more pressure, especially if you can stack it. I mean, one last thing with this lineup is that you're not honestly striding all the time. So the fact that these cards can just be fine to sit on, Metatron's a 27k base that can net you triggers, Ergodiel's 3k can come surprisingly in handy, and you never want to be in Feather Palace.
Ever.
So that's a great 3 lineup. That's the heart and soul of this deck.
Should also be mentioned that this deck will, a lot of times, will go into a utility stride to build up your advantage, and then superior ride Ergodiel from your damage
Yeah,
zone.
the deck likes to abort off strides a lot. And then sometimes you just don't go into them.
Yep.
On to grade 2s. Actually broken. Still broken.
That card is absurd.
Yeah.
The card is absurd with the new interactions.
And then Tusariel. Broken Heart. If I'll explain it, but I really shouldn't have to. The card is extremely good. It will make your opponents cry. They'll want it dead as soon as humanly possible, because you just get to make your Vanguard bigger and bigger. It can also allow for a decent offensive pressure, stand along to go with your Feather Palace. Mainly good on the opponent's turn, though, just because it makes you more defensive. Ergodiel, this card used to be but now you just go, oh, I put a Protect Gift in. Take something out. Oh, the Protect Gift's gone. Cool, I just healed the damage.
Yep. It's literally Counterblast 1 to get a card in your hand and heal the damage.
It's absurd, and with how much this deck can generate Protect counters, you really don't need 5 perfect cards in your hand.
No.
I would rather swap a perfect card for a crit trigger any day. The heal is honestly a bonus.
Yep.
This is basically one of the main 3 pillars of your healing core, alongside Metatron, and then one of our G units. And Sariel, Zariel, she can be a bit clunky a lot of the times. If you see her early, despite the way her skill might seem, unless you have a lot of damage, she won't be very good. If you only have one face-up damage, you'll go Counterblast, search your thing, and because you have to heal a face-up card, it will immediately go to the drop zone, meaning you can't guarantee Zerakiel for early game plays. And even if they hit a crit, sometimes you want to leave what you have. But it can be very good things like if I need to fetch like a Zerakiel to set up a Feather Palace play, or I need to set a Feather Palace for a Feather Palace play, as I have G-units that can fetch it out. It can be good early game if they rush you, but it's mainly just there to find what you need in the later game. 10 grade 2s, because consistency is for losers.
I mean, you say that, but this deck works pretty consistently, to be honest.
It's not that bad. Honest to God, it's really not that bad now that I think about it. Because even if you can't find your 2s, even if you can't find your 1s, you just go, Zerakiel.
Yep.
Yeah, that's how that interaction works. And then on to the absolute mess that is my grade 1 lineup. For Sardiel. This is the only 4 we have here. This card, it's not that great. It's more of a necessary evil. The Soul Charge is normally unless you Soul Charge a 3, then it's really good. You get to, it's a net 2 to deck, which with how much you grind and how much you bring to your deck isn't always enough, but it's good. You'll usually be recycling triggers, because that's what part of the skill is, and then for the non-triggers you're almost always sending back grade 3s, as 11 grade 3s is not enough. And then onto the 4 2-ofs. 4 Hesidiel, 4 no-seal grade 1, 2 no-seal, 2 of those, my bad, 2 Smash Heart, and 2 Shadowless Angel. Hesidiel, all of these cards are great, but for one reason or another, I can't really run more than them. I'm going to start with these 2, because these 2 tie in together. The reason why I'm not running 4 of this or 4 of that is because the Draw PG, which this deck does like to have, has the no-seal name. Has the Battle Keep and no-seal name, meaning I can't run 4 of this, and then I still want 4 PGs, just because while you can generate a lot with Protect Gifts, these are still very good to have. So I run this mix. What's also an interesting thing is, in matchups where you really need it, your Sardiels can send back both a Shadowless Angel and a Draw PG. So that's nice. Smash Heart is one of the main ways combined with, and actually that doesn't really plus. Basically, Smash Heart is the main way you'll be plussing to hand. Obviously, healing is a very good trait to have, but it's not direct card advantage. This is one of your greatest forms of card advantage. And this is another thing that needs a lot of soul. While it's important to keep your grade 3s, as the Feather Palace is more important than the Draw 1, you know, you'll have 3 from riding from 0 to 2, and then whatever is generated off Sardiel. So it's good. And then Hesidiel, very good card. It gets things at the damage zone that you need. It puts your Zerakiels in, simply only 2 because I don't have enough space.
It should also be noted that the, which one was that, Smash Heart, can be triggered on your opponent's turn if you rescue check a heal.
Which is very easy.
Or actually, if you just rescue check, period.
Yeah, if you hit a heal or easily you rescue check, which is very doable. And then on to the triggers. For heal trigger, 8 V crit, a Nutrient Angel, 2 Draw PG, and the Fridge. The V heals are here because since you're recycling triggers, you'd theoretically be able to G-Guard more than 4 times per game. This deck also really needs the power. So that's another buff, and since you don't really need the resources, as you just go through damage a lot, I mean, the V-heals might be nice after Feather Palace turn, because, you know, he flips all your damage face down. Forgot to mention that, but you don't really care. There's some applications where that's useful. You can, like, countercharge Zerakiel, I guess, but just the power, the shield, just great to have. 8 V crit, same principle applies here. Crits apply pressure, number is big, and while you have some good effect triggers, their effects simply aren't good enough. And then 1 Fridge, he's at 1, he really shouldn't be at 1. He can't be at 4 because of time reasons, and if you can keep hitting him, your turns will take way too long, and then if you have Broken Heart, forget about it. But just please put him to 2. And then, I already basically discussed why these 2 are here. Draws are great to have in this deck, another way to amass card advantage, and with all the rescue checks you're doing, they're great to see. Problem is, crits are simply too necessary. And then the one Nutrient Angel, crits are great. There are only, obviously, 2 different V-crits, so you opt for this one. I guess it can screw over Link Joker, all the locked decks that I guess are maybe still around. But more importantly, it can just be nice to generate a soul and countercharge one. That's my trigger lineup.
Alright. So that's it for the main deck.
And then onto the G units. There. 4 Eden, 4 Raphael. This is your core, this is your life, blood, everything. These 2 strides are definitively the best for your deck. Raphael, you just go into her, heal a damage, go back into Ergodiel, and then probably Feather Palace. This card's also stupid in time if you're playing in any sort of best of 3 format, especially, to where you go, oh, there's a damage differential? No, there's not. This deck can easily, if you simply go ride Metatron, stride Raphael, and having a rule out, that's 3 damage healed right there, ignoring the possibility of any heal triggers or secondary rules.
I've had this man go ride Metatron, stride Raphael, pass turn, win game.
Yeah, in time.
In time because of that.
And you forgot how time works.
Yeah. I forgot we were in turn 3.
Yeah, that's what I mean. And then for Eden, the Soul Blast one to the rescue. Your common first turn play will be stride into this, get the rescue, and then unless there's something you really need to call out with the second skill, which a lot of the times there honestly isn't, you'll just go back into Ergodiel. And you do stay on it though. It allows you to fetch combo pieces, and in the later game, it will occasionally even allow you to do a bit of multi-attacks. Like, maybe you'll have a Broken Heart, swinging for, 15k shield, and a rule to get a heal, effective Eden, call it a Feather Palace, call it another rule, heal a bunch, apply a bunch of pressure. Just a very good card for this deck. And those are the 2 main units, but obviously there's a few more. Ultiel. Ultiel's a new addition to the deck. It's honestly gonna serve a similar function as Eden, where it's really just the card you go into if you intend to get off, intend to get off your stride and go into Ergodiel and you don't need the heal. Ultiel, on ride, you get to do a rescue check. We don't have room for any more, so we will never be able to do more than 1 with her. The Counter Blast one is fine, Soul Blast one, if we can deal with it for Eden, we can deal with it for her. And then, but at that point, it's like, why not go into Eden? Well, let's look at the second skill for later in the game. Very simple. GB3, Counter Blast 1, all your front row units gain 2k. This has great synergy with Feather Palace, because Feather Palace is going to flip down all your damage anyway. Might as well take the time to make it bigger, although the power won't carry over to the Vanguard. Although, despite that being the main draw of it, depending on the situation, you might want to go into first ride, as your Edens can be very valuable. And then Ultima. It's big, it's strong.
You run a stand trigger.
I run a stand trigger, and that's really all you need, because with Ergodiel, you get to recycle it, so you can ensure it's in deck when you need it.
Yep.
And, yeah. What was his Japanese name again?
Something.
Zenith Pole. Yeah, he's the Mighty Pole.
The Mighty Pole.
And then onto the G Guards. 2 Suriel, 1 Partial, 1 Elith, and 1 Dismal. Suriel, she lets you dig for triggers on your opponent's turn, and because of V triggers, this hitting a trigger on your opponent's turn is a lot better. And then you can also have Broken Heart, which makes it even bigger.
Also triggers Smashbox.
Smash Heart, yes, thank you for reminding me of that.
Smashbox. Playing too much Narukami lately.
That you do have. Partial, this is the big shield of the deck. If you ever go into a Feather Palace turn, or maybe an Eden turn, or really anything where you'll have a bunch of damage face down, it just becomes a really big shield.
Just casual 35k shield.
Yeah, it's not a hard restriction. I'd run more, but like,
space.
Yeah. Elith is basically the inverse of Partial. While she's a flip card and requires a Soul Blast, she'll gain 5k for each face-up unit. So she'll be good to go into a lot earlier on when you have more face-up damage. Yeah. These two, if you really want, you could probably cut the Elith with Partial, but I like to have the adaptation for the situations, since Partial isn't live all the time, but neither is Elith.
Options are always good to have.
Yeah. And then, Dismal. Let's play a game. It's called Name the Amount of Threats That People Want Dead. quick. Where are my great threes?
There's a lot.
Where the frick did I put them?
All right.
We got it.
We get, yeah.
These three, opponents will want all of them dead. This one, this is honestly the weakest of the three, but between being able to just output that bit of extra pressure, being an annoyance on the opponent's turn, and also, since a lot of the, if you're playing against players that have been playing against this deck for a long time, they'll have memories of this card. I've noticed that a lot in my games, to where people want this dead solely because of what they've seen it do in the past. A rule, why would you want to let your opponent just keep having a free healer out? And then Feather Palace is your main form of aggression. While you can recycle them, it can be kind of annoying, so getting this killed is not fun. So to protect all of them, you just have Dismal. And as I said, you don't even need to be G-guarding all the time, so that's fine.
Alright. So, final words.
Frick, where do I start? Yeah, I've always played Angels, as I mentioned, and I've stuck with them with many different incarnations, from the tankier early days to whatever Celestials were, to the very aggressive days of Gavrail.
What are your opinion on the deck as a competitive deck?
I was gonna get to that.
Okay.
Yeah, no, don't worry, I'm getting to that. Yeah, I just, this is probably one of my favorite incarnations of Angel Feather I've ever played. And luckily, it's pretty good. Well, with a slight caveat. In best of 3 tournaments run by competent human beings, the deck can be very strong. We still have 2 weeks till NLK gets banned, and this deck's matchup against that is actually hysterical. Because NLK outputs so little pressure, you'll easily maintain yourself being at 1 to 0 damage, and when they go for their NLK combo, you'll just go, oh, I hit like 3 to 4 defensive triggers, especially because of Suriel. And sure, NLK can hit numbers, but can they really hit numbers to get through a 12-card hand when you have a 42k base? Not a lot of the time they don't. On some other matchups, Geese. I haven't actually played against a Geese deck with this matchup. With Geese match, you know what I mean. I don't imagine it being that good. You simply don't have the pressure to keep up. So that's unfortunate. Against Ezel, I find this deck can keep up surprisingly well. Obviously, the combo hurts, but since Ezel really dies to damage triggers, and you can hit so many, it's a surprisingly good matchup for what it is. And it really, you know, those are the 3 honestly main pillars in the meta right now. Ange can be annoying because they have 8 G-guards, but I don't imagine it's that bad. It's just generally good deck, but with the one caveat I mentioned, Bushy Road events, best of 1, 30 minutes, double ties at double loss. This deck will tie a lot. In my most recent tournament, I had a record of 202, and that is not at all out of the ordinary.
And that was during a best of 3 tournament.
Yeah, that was during a best of 3 tournament. I had a game against Anthony here, his Genesis Fenrir deck versus this deck, and we got to game 2 about 5 minutes before the round was over. Yeah. But this deck does thrive in time, because you just go Stride Raphael, heal, ride Metatron, heal. You can just snap your fingers and bring your damage down, especially if you don't have to worry about a next turn. Mm-hmm. But you'll tie so much, and having those ties turn into losses, this deck probably will not see a bunch of success at Bushy Road official tournaments, but in an ARG or something, I think it could do great.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's the deck profile, guys. Please feel free to leave your questions and stuff down in the comments. I'll be sure to get them to Joe to see if he can respond. Hope you guys enjoy, and I will catch you next time.